What do you do when the villain is so powerful that you can't beat them by yourself? You have to team up.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Jared Fearing.
I'm a lifelong Godzilla fan and a big fan of Halloween.
And nothing says Halloween like monster movies.
So this year, for the month of October,
we're going to review every single Godzilla movie, from Gojira all the way to Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire.
So join me this month for a new video every single day and see if I go insane in the process. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Today we're going to review the first in the series that actually is not called a Godzilla movie. It's called Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. And it is definitely a Godzilla movie, but it also includes Mothra and Rodan. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster introduces the biggest, baddest villain in the entire Godzilla series, King Ghidorah, but it also marks the entry into the real sci-fi roots that we start to see come through more and more in the Godzilla series. This is the first movie that features aliens, which become an ongoing subplot. The movie is kind of silly, but in the best possible way. Not silly bad like Godzilla Raids Again, silly good like King Kong vs. Godzilla, but a little less funny. The movie features a princess that escapes an exploding airplane by jumping out, and she survives because she's essentially been possessed by the spirit of an alien. It's an interesting storyline and could not be more sci-fi. The alien subplot is great B-movie material, and it's especially interesting because this takes place in 1964. Why that's important, I'll tell you in a minute. The princess uses her alien possession for prophecy to warn the people that Godzilla and Rodan are coming back, but that there's a bigger threat on their way in a monster they've not seen, King Ghidorah from outer space. Godzilla and Rodan are going to have to work together or they're going to have no hope in defeating King Ghidorah. Here's where it gets interesting with the alien. The princess is taken for hypnotic regression in one scene. The reason this is interesting is because this movie came out in 1964, and the UFO boom was just starting. One of the most famous UFO abduction incidents of all time, the Betty and Barney Hill incident, had just taken place. It's hard to say if this movie, during the development, took any of that as inspiration, but it's hard to almost imagine that it didn't, because the Betty and Barney Hill hypnosis regression tapes are some of the most influential pieces of UFO material out there. And in this movie, the princess is given hypnotic regression to see if she is indeed an alien. And they put her under, and sure enough, she claims to be an alien. Specifically, an alien from Mars, which is interesting. She claims that the Martians came to Earth long time ago and over a long period of time of living here have basically become Earthlings and lost all the things that made them Martians, with the only thing remaining being a little bit of foresight and prophecy, like psychics. It's kind of an interesting theory. This movie is also special because it launches the 7-year streak of Godzilla movies consecutively. And then there's a 1-year break, and then there's 5 more years of Godzilla. I personally would have loved to be alive at that time. Godzilla every year? Come on. I was wrong in one of my earlier videos when I said I didn't think there was that much hand puppetry later in the series. Gojira is one of the few films in the series that actually uses puppetry to depict Godzilla in some of the scenes. In the future, it's almost exclusively a guy in a suit. And boy, was I proven wrong for this movie. There's hand puppetry for Rodan and Godzilla. So, my bad. Maybe it shows up more frequently than I've realized in the past, but now I'm looking out for it as I rewatch these movies. When Rodan first gets introduced in this movie, it's one of my favorite introductions to a movie monster in the series. A guy loses his hat down a volcano, and he pays another guy, I think 500 yen to go get it, which is crazy because that's like $5 Canadian. And this dude crawls into the volcano, and then Rodan erupts from it and comes back from underground, which is again kind of loose continuity to the original Rodan movie, where there's actually two Rodans, and they both end up falling to their supposed deaths in a volcano. So is it connected? Nah, it's hard to say. But the continuity really started with Godzilla versus the Thing, or Godzilla against Mothra. That's where I kind of see the continuity starting for real in the Showa period, because those movies start to be referred to later on. When Rodan first confronts Godzilla, he kind of beats his ass, to be honest. I've always really loved this version of Rodan. This is my favorite iteration of the character. The kind of like chicken pterodactyl from this series, the Showa era, that's the Rodan that I really love. And yeah, he puts a beating on Godzilla when they first meet. This movie also features a distinct characteristic that comes back ever so often, which is that the monsters can talk to one another. You see that Mothra tries to reason with Godzilla and Rodan in order to get them to work together to fight King Ghidorah. Ghidorah, whatever you like, they're both the same. The Ghidorah suit is unbelievable. It stands up even today. It looks so good. And it took a lot of work just to run the thing, let alone have somebody moving in it. It's absolutely gigantic. You have to remember that when you see Rodan, Godzilla, those are people in those suits, and King Ghidorah is significantly bigger than both of them. They battle at Mount Fuji again, which is sweet because it's the icon of Japan. It's a great fight. All the monsters get to try their hand at fighting King Ghidorah, and they have to work together to win. Mothra, Rodan, Godzilla, they all have great moments, especially Rodan getting shot at and hiding behind a rock and then peeking out to see if it's okay and getting shot at again. King Ghidorah shoots lightning. That's awesome and also would be horrifying. Speaking of lightning, there is in fact a scene where Godzilla gets shot in the crotch with the lightning. One other thing that this movie has that is a little bit unique is it's actually the first Godzilla movie to show blood in color. There's definitely blood in the original Gojira, but it's black and white, and maybe it's been colorized, I don't actually know, and I've not really cared to look. I've always seen it in black and white, and that's good enough for me. But in this movie, multiple people get shot, and you see blood gushing from their wounds. It's a bit of a step forward in the maturity of the series. In terms of monsters fighting, this one really outdid all the other ones so far. We have Mothra, Rodan, Godzilla all fighting King Ghidorah, and then the alien subplot. So it's a really good movie to capitalize on all the things that came before it. And if you're a kid watching this movie, this is like the perfect late night movie to watch before something even more scary comes on. This would be great to watch, you know, at a sleepover, late night Friday, coming on Space TV back in the day. I'm really aging myself by bringing up Space TV, but I really like this movie. And as we get more and more into the monster battles, which become more paramount rather than the human story, this is a great starting point. I highly recommend it and love it. And the very next movie is kind of similar in premise, but it's also very interesting, and it's Invasion of the Astro Monster. And the Astro Monster is King Ghidorah. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think of Ghidorah the three-headed monster, and I will see you next time.